Okay, so today we're going to carry on with our study of the quadratic equation solving using the quadratic formula. So get your notes down, hit pause when you're ready to have a look at the starter, hit play. So here's our starter for today. Hit pause, and when you're ready to go through the solutions with me, hit play. So, state if 2 times n minus 3 is always odd, always even, or sometimes odd and sometimes even. Well, whenever you double a number, you multiply it by 2, it's going to become even. So you're going to have always even. Whatever you do, whenever you double a number, the solution is always going to be even. If you had 5, say, 2 times 5 is 10. If you have 6, 2 times 6 is 12. If you have 7, 2 times 7 is 14, and so on. But you still have to give 3 examples. Okay, so if we say here, let n equal 3. I tell you what, let's add n equal 5, because 3 is not gonna help us there. So that's gonna mean we've got 2 times 5 minus 3, or 2 times 2, which is 4. Then we try n equals 6. That gives us 2 times 6 minus 3, which is 6. And if we try n equals 7, then we get 2 times 7 minus 3, so 4 times 2, which is 8. So we can write here, whenever you double a number, the answer is always even. As something for you to think about, just as an aside, we finish this question. Think about this. If you want to guarantee that you've got an even number, you double a number. If you want to guarantee you've got an odd number, what would you do? So to get an even number, you double it. To get an odd, first you double it, and then you add 1. Right, moving on to the second question. Factorize. So it's always to factorize, not use the formula. We only use the formula when they tell us it's to 2 decimal places or 3 significant figures or something like that. So we need the factors of 6. That'll give us 5. So I've got 2 and 3, because 2 plus 3 gives me 5, and 2 times 3 gives me 6. So they're both going to stay positive. So that means then, either x plus 2 equals 0 or x plus 3 equals 0. Now if you haven't written this in full, do it now. Okay, we can't be guessing at the answer, we have to write it step by step. So that implies then that x is equal to minus 2 or x is equal to minus 3. And the final one, change everything to standard form. So you've got 3.5 times 10 to the power of 5, so equals to, times 200, so it'll be 2 times 10 squared, or 2 times 100. 2 times 3.5 gives me 7, times 10 to the power of 5 plus 2 is 7. Hopefully you've got all that. Rag it for me. And we'll have a look at our first example for today. So this is our example. In order to solve it, it doesn't look like a quadratic at the moment. We've got to expand first and then simplify. And we're conversant with our formula. X equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we're happy with that. So we now apply it once we expand and simplify. So let's do that straight away. Got 2x squared, so that's going to give us 4x squared, which is equal to x times x, which is x squared, and then x times minus 14, so minus 14x minus 5, which is on its own out there. Okay, then we move everything to which side? Well, 4x squared is bigger than the 1x squared, so move everything to the left hand side, giving us 4x squared minus x squared plus 14x plus 5, which is equal to 0. And simplifying those gives us 3x squared plus 14x plus 5 equals 0. What I'm trying to do here is trying to keep my equal signs in a line. That's why I've shifted everything along a bit. Okay, so now I can look at these terms. I can take my a, which is going to be the coefficient of x squared, which is 3. Take my b, coefficient of x, which is 14. And c, the number is 5. Okay, so my formula, always write the formula, curly x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. If we put a square root symbol here, all over 2 times a, 2a. So let's sub in for a, b and c. So minus b, so we've got minus 14, plus or minus the square root b squared, so that's 14 squared, minus 4 times a, 3, times c, 5, all over 2 times a. So 2 times 3. I'm going to carry on this side of the page. And so we have curly x, it's going to be equal to minus 14 plus or minus the square root of 14 squared, 196, minus 4 times 5 times 3. 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20, times 3 is 60. All over 2a. Guys, pens down. You can write this in a minute. Okay. Oops, not 2a. That should be 6. Let's just change that quickly. Okay, that's better. So that leaves us with x is equal to minus 14 plus or minus the square root of 196 minus 136 divided by 6. And that's going to give us two answers. So we've got minus 14 plus the square root of 136 divided by 6, or minus 14 minus the square root of 136 divided by 6. And that's going to be, when we solve that then, we have x is equal to either 0.39 or minus 0.39 or minus 4.28 to 2 decimal places. Now make sure you can get those solutions from this equation here and this one. Just get on your calculators and do that. Now hit pause, and when you're ready to have a go, hit play again for the next question. Right, let's try another one. This time it says solve to 2 decimal places. X minus 3 squared equals 10. Once we see this 2 decimal places, it's almost an invitation to use the quadratic formula because we can't factorize to 2 decimal places. Okay, so if we expand this out, you should be getting x minus 3 times x minus 3 equals 10. Pens down, pay attention. When we expand it out, x times x gives us x squared. X times minus 3 is minus 3x. And then minus 3 times x is another minus 3x. And then minus 3 times minus 3 gives us plus 9 equals 10. Couldn't quite keep my equal signs together. So we got x squared minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 10. Let's move the 10 over. Move the 10 over to the left hand side. We got x squared minus 6x plus 9 minus 10 equals 0. So minus 1 equals 0. Right, so let's write our quadratic formula down. Curly x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now in this, I've forgotten to write them down because we're working quite well with them now. If we just change the color so we can see, I've got a is equal to 1, b is equal to minus 6, and c equals minus 1. So we can sub for those numbers in the equation. Let's just change this back to red. So we got x is equal to minus b, so minus 6, plus or minus the square root of minus 6 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is minus 1. I put that in brackets just to distinguish it. And everything is divided by 2 times a, which is 2 times 1. It's just 2. Continuing on this half of the page, like I say, pens down. Okay, you will have time to copy. That means x is equal to minus 6 is just 6, plus or minus the square root of 6 squared, which is 36. Now then, I've got minus 4 times 1 times minus 1, so 2 minuses because that plus there, so it'll be minus, so it'll be plus 4 all over 2, which is equal to 6 plus or minus the square root of 40 all over 2, which is equal to 2 solutions, 6 plus the square root of 40 over 2, or 6 minus the square root of 40 over 2. Now, calculators, get your calculators and work it out before I give you the solutions. See if you can match mine. You should be getting 6.16, it's 2 decimal places, or on the other hand, you should be getting minus 0.16. Okay. So your turn now. Let's get you some questions to work through. Okay, I want you to attempt these questions for me in a strange order. I want you to do question number 5 first. Once you've finished all 5 on question 5, then go back to question 3 and work 3, then 4. Miss out question 6 and you can then go on to questions 7 and 8. Okay, so that's a strange order for today. Start with question 5, then 3, then 4, then 7 and 8. Okay, good.